Now we are going to move on to the demonstration portion of the ASQ. Now, I do want to reiterate everything you see today is on a demo database, i.e. I have a patient here. They may look real, they may feel real, but they are not real. These are all fake individuals, not to be confused with the real live information. So as you can see here, we have our patient. They are reporting to the A clinic, just standard ambulatory care clinic, and we can see the different pieces that are going on. In most sites, we'll start looking at the reminders, and you can see in a couple places where that information will show. So I'm going to go here to our... All right, so depending on your site, there's going to be a couple locations where, as far as the reminder or alarm clock, that may come up to show you where things are. There is on the standardized GUI, a section underneath the nursing area called review, which will show all the different reminders that are currently due. Of course, you always have the standard alarm clock, which will show you what is due also. In this case, we have the suicide risk screening indicated. And that lets you know that this individual has not had some kind of suicide risk screening done within the last 3 months and they meet the age requirements. So how do you answer this? And this is something that your site is going to have to determine works best for them. For ambulatory sites, of course, you can just leave it as part of the alarm clock. Some other sites, if they want to do it more on a regular, like every single visit, you may want to turn this into a standalone document. I'll kind of give you a description of what that is here. So everybody should be aware that when you're seeing a patient, there's a couple ways you can get to those alarm clock related items. One is, if it's strictly on the alarm clock and not standalone, you have to create some kind of note. Either you do it after your note, before your note. However, you just basically have to start a note in some capacity. And once you do so, there's this bottom button for reminders. You can go to those reminders and you can see all those that are due. Anything with that little box is a reminder dialogue, and they can go ahead and answer this along with any other reminders they may be addressing. I'll show you the other way this can be launched. Like I said, if it's turned into a standalone, sites can make that determination as well. Now, this has been built so that it has an entry point as far as putting a breaker. So I have heard that some sites have added this as part of some kind of triage process, etc. I don't do that for you, but if you want to do that, that capability is there for you. It does have an area for your HIM approval and revision related information. In the installation manual, I do spell out where that field is, and you can modify that accordingly. Now, once you get started, you're going to start doing your documentation. You click that one piece, and once you click on that one piece, you kind of get an overall feel of everything that is available. It's a relatively short tool. It only goes up to 4 questions, 5 depending on how you answer, and kind of trails off from there depending on how the patient responds to you. I'm going to first start off with the patient in the refusal section. We do have a refusal section here. As you all know, and this will be corrected hopefully in the future, in which maybe I'll provide an update at that time, dialogues cannot enter in refusal related information. So we're going to document here that the patient refused this screening. It'll give them a little note. It does not get into the final note, as you can see below, but it'll let them know, hey, please go to your personal health object and document that the patient refused to do this screening, just so that you have a positive record that you did ask and the patient refused it. Now, if they're 8 to 17 years of age, there is a documentation out there that they're 8 to 17, that anytime they refuse, it should be considered a non-acute positive. If you click on that area, it will automatically document that non-acute positive. It'll give you a comment section where you can add additional information or change it. This is just what the default is, or change it and provide a justification on why you did it. Now, you'll notice if anybody has been using the old reminder, the one thing that has changed, we have now added for every section that when you're doing your training, the user will continue to go down the dialogue until they hit the statement where it says suicide risk screen complete. Please follow your local site guidelines and policy. Once you hit that, you're done. You do not, even though it looks like there might be stuff down below, once you hit that statement, you are done and you can finish and close out. And now it'll come more apparent on why we did that when we get lower. This is kind of a self-explanatory, but that is one good training piece, and that's one item we did get back for feedback, because sometimes people were confused on when they were done and when they weren't done. I'm now going to go back this up. We're going to go back up to the top here. I'm going to take off the refusal, and we're going to go like we're going to add the ASK screening questions. So you start asking your question, you can either click on them directly. Some people are aware of that you can do the tab and space bar in order to enter in things. Some nurses I find like that capability. But you go through, you answer your questions, state if yes, you can put in some information here as appropriate, and then you get to a simple yes, no response down below. Did the patient answer yes to any of the questions 1 through 4? If you answer yes, it'll break it off. You now have question 5. Are you having thoughts of killing yourself right now? If you say no, it will document that it's a non-acute positive. Their level of understanding, because you're providing risk safety prevention, ideation, you're giving a brief education on why you're doing this and how long it took you. Now you'll notice in this new version, there is some clarifying questions to help you to determine if you're going to do consults, assessments, etc. If you click here, if 4 is the only yes above, because again, people that have ever tried to kill themselves, they will forever come forward as a positive of some sort, non-acute positive. You can now clarify the statement by, if the question 4 is the only yes, since last visit, have you tried to kill yourself? Yes, no, patient's first visit, etc. However you need to define that. But if you say no, I have not tried to do anything different from my last visit, that may change your process. Now, if you notice, we have this suicide risk screening. We haven't quite got to the bottom. The next question is, do you want to order some kind of social work consult? If you do, you click on that, and it will now fire off a consult that you have set up in your system to handle these kind of issues. Since I've hit that suicide risk screen is complete, despite seeing information down below, we are now done and we can finish this tool out. There's no need to continue forward. So as you can see, I'll pull up the information down here. It's going to document that the patient has received various suicide prevention and safety related information. You have now done your suicide screening exam, and you can see that a social work consult has been ordered. All right, now let's back this up a little bit, and we're now going to go to the statement back from no. We're going to say, are you having thoughts about killing yourself right now? You click that, it gives you an answer, a place to immediately describe some information, an additional comment area down to the bottom, but this person is going to be an automatic active positive. You are once again given that process of ordering your consult, and you need to follow your local guidelines, but then you stop as far as this tool is concerned. Of course, since they're positive, they're now going to be seen by their provider, behavioral health, etc., because they're now dealing with an active suicidal situation. Again, follow your local policies. Now let's turn this around. We just then yes, but we had the yes, no questions as far as are they going to kill themselves right now. We're going to now back up to question 1 through 4. Did they answer yes to any of the above questions? If you say no, which is the 99% of the time, most people you're going to have a response to this. This is the most likely entry. You click that, it's going to document the normal negative, their level of understanding, because you're giving basic reasons why you're doing this. And of course, you see the suicide risk screen is complete and you are now done. As you can see, once everything is completed, it's a very short, sweet note. It's not very long. And again, it will expand a little bit more depending on if it was a yes to that 1 through 4 question, but everything you do is promptly documented for signing. If I had a consult tied to this, it would be after I sign it, would be launching that request for that consult, and you would sign off at that point as well. All right, the other option, as I said, depending on your location, you may have one or both of these options. The other option is it can be turned as a standalone document. You place it in your shared folder, you turn it into a standalone document, and they can just fire it like they would any other template in your system, as you see here. So basically the same thing. It's just now not part of that whole reminder list. As far as the demonstration portion of this tool, we are now complete, and we'll be moving on into the pre-installation